is because we don't have the history of the first game to go on because we've had a 5-man swap.
Exactly. We can't really talk about, like you say, game 1 to game 2 adaptations outside of kind of organizational words, not
or like
individual
KT
player
momentum,
words.
right?
Sure.
You can speak about it purely on KT's side, but it doesn't really make a difference compared to VSG.
So I'm always torn when it's a great player like smeb going for something that seems very bold. Because Kale and Cannon, obviously not a great matchup. Klepto into a Cannon, also pretty bold. When we actually saw Kale into a ranged matchup in LCK, it was fleet footwork to have a bit of sustain at the cost of high rolling and getting a skill point, or even just goal generation in a bad matchup. Yes, you can hang back, take some trades, and give up the lane phase, but giving up the lane phase against an Olaf jungle and a tempo draft is so risky, and yet that's been smeb's decision. So is he going Klepto KO to say, camp top lane, I'm Klepto KO, how dare I go for this pick? Or is he just thinking he can outplay? We can't get it in his head, but both of those can be real possibilities, because it's going to be a tough lane.
Well, you can see Score, he's pathing towards the bottom side of the map, so no help for the Kale in the early stages. Great sidestep there from BDD to avoid the Q. Snowflower's already down to half health though, so we'll see whether KT are going to once again have a rough time here on the bottom side of the map.
The Observer showed it is unsealed spellbook cannon, AP cannon very, very heavily expected from this. Been a lot of Gunblade cannon around the world in kind of trickier matchups. We'll see. I feel he can go pretty much anything against Kale and get away with it. So we'll see how greedy Rearus is. But Ignite for laning phase, definitely a possibility here. Try to dunk on the Kale.
Well, you can see pings out from VSG. They know exactly where Score is. That will mean that Rearus can play as aggressively as he wants. Minion wave shoving towards KT effectively here. Bottom side of the map, hail of arrows. Going to be almost as frustrating as the volley from game number 1 in the hands of Veritas. And now we'll see how Moo is going to perform here on the LCK stage here in Lowell Park.
Mighty Bear's camps he's taking are pretty interesting on Olaf. On the blue side, Olaf, you can't just start the same with a leash on the bot side as often. You really want blue buff as Olaf, but his path naturally doesn't get level 3 as fast as he went for a Krug clear, and it ends at bot lane. So maybe there's a potential that he's looking for a bot lane counter gank as his primary objective. It just means that all I mean is that Olaf is farming slower in this path than you would see from most Olaf paths, and it doesn't really guarantee much. So interesting to see the blue side start.
I do like it based on where this lane is positioned. KT will shove this wave forward into a potential Mighty Bear gank if KT follows this minion wave in. Probably going to get it to crash into the turret though, so not a lot of bonus given onto KT as Rearus is straight up getting smacked around here by the Kale in the early game, which is not what we would necessarily expect from this matchup.
Basically, he's playing towards his
gold.
Yeah, but he's playing towards his jungler's positioning. Unfortunately, his jungler has been bot side, and they don't have any vision of Score. Score has the stronger ganking jungler in the Jarvan, so this is more of a flow-on effect of where his jungler's popping. The fact that we already said Olaf's first job seems to be bot lane coverage after his first cleave.
Yeah, and also had to go back and grab those boots, otherwise the Predator going to be completely useless, so you can understand exactly why KT had the extra breathing room. That is gone now, though, and now it's up to Mighty Bear to find his way to attack.
The
and it looks like topside's going to be it.
Are very in awe of smeb's last hit.
Yeah, farming.
He got all the creeps.
He did.
You know, if KO gets every creep, it doesn't really matter who a lane opponent is. That's a pretty good win condition right there. So if you can farm every minion and not take harass, you're feeling pretty good.
Yep, well, smeb, you can see, wants to be able to get a whole bunch more of these Klepto procs as well, and you can see he's using his entire mana bar. I haven't seen him miss a creep in a long time. There's the first one. Okay, Rem, have used Circle of Frost here to deal with BDD, who doesn't have any regen so far.
All right, now here comes your boy Olaf.
Yeah, gonna get the Mark of the Storm. Flash immediately does come out. Good stun comes in, and smeb should be falling. Takes a little while, but Mighty Bear does walk away and isn't killed by the turret.
No surprise, Olaf upside, gank happens, and Kale is so damn weak. 3-6, and even her level 6 is just far enough away from the turret. She's gonna die anyway, so goes down there. But it's a good recall timing. Gets a Sheen on first back, can't get a Dark Seal to join it, but you're feeling pretty decent as smeb because his CS is so strong. It's not one of those awful first backs where you die and buy a Sapphire Crystal and also a Dark Seal. Getting Sheen here, the amount of time it took to get off that gank is big. Mighty Bear used his Predator. Let's see if smeb gets greedy, because right now the minion wave's in an awkward spot.
Well, there's the flash in from Mighty Bear. smeb gets the double slow with the Q, which is huge, but still, the fight is happening, and he's well and truly dead. Mark of the Storms were stacked, and VSG take down the Kale for a second time.
Unfortunately, he caught 2 cans of Craggy Ice, and that's enough to make him pass out for a while. Not sure if they can advertise that on their packaging, but goodbye to Kale, and this back timing will be way more annoying because of all the minions being missed in bot lane.
Yeah, that's a pretty good taunt. Does have to get the cleanse out there from Minute, who does have the grey health in. Devour comes forward. Moo is in trouble. KT really fighting strong here bottom side.
And Moo was this player who caught us out of nowhere in the Kesper Cup. Came in as the Kongdu Monster Challengers trainee after Kongdu were relegated. 17 years old, still to today, so one of the youngest players. The 2001 birthday for Moo. But his Ezreal looked otherworldly in the Kesper Cup. He was awesome on that pick. Less effective outside of Ezreal and Lucian, by far his most played. When he's played, and remember, it has been Veritas playing for other games in Challengers. So, of any player who's likely to look like a rookie, to look second tier, the fact that Moo is making his debut on this big stage in front of the biggest crowd he's ever been around, as a very tender young AD carry with a lot of talent, as we've seen. Let's see if Moo can find the right amount of boldness. He wants lane control against Saya and Galio, but the cost should not be his death.
Well, at the moment, things are very even here on the bottom side of the map. I think it's 1 minion in advantage as the waves crash together. As BDD, he's farming pretty nicely. The Lissandra matchup can be a rough one here for the Akali, and BDD decided he'd take it into it. See how this mid-game is going to unfold, though, because you can see smeb still has a CS advantage. He's still having a pretty decent time here on the Kale, despite dying 2 times. Mighty Bear will have pretty accelerated Cinderhulk here in the early game, because he's been part of 2 of those kills. Needs to start affecting the rest of the map here. Rem will have some setup for him if he decides the mid lane is where they want to go, but Kali a difficult one to gank. The Snowflower gets 1 taunt. Minute, remember, doesn't have the cleanse available. Moo doesn't have any mana available, and KT have a lot of control and score waiting in the wings.
They don't spot him.
Check
they don't know he's there.
This is real dangerous. Okay, Snowflower has a flash, the double taunt, and the double knock-up from Score as well. Cataclysm will secure the 2 kills, and Snowflower perfectly tanks the turret.
It's like you're watching a YouTube playthrough of Amnesia, and you know that the big jump scare is coming, but unfortunately the streamer doesn't. In this case, Moo and Minute into the death chamber. Choose their option of where to put the ward. That one did not work out.
Nope, that was not what we wanted. As smeb, he smells the sharks. And Mighty Bear will walk over this control ward. smeb is going to be rewarded for his foresight. Not going to be rewarded with the minions underneath this turret.
And doesn't this feel like the glass half full explanation of why to go for the Klepto top lane Kale? Yes, Kale has died twice, but smeb has CS'd well, and now this extended camp topside is at a heavy cost bot lane. The expected winning Varus Tom Kench is now not winning. They're in the death chamber, 2 kills shared between the 3 members of KT, and the CS is kept up from KT, so honestly, I feel like KT's winning out these trades with how everything is going.
Yeah, well, Score, he's hanging around here towards the top side of the map. Varus not going to be able to get into this lane, and feels like more of a wave gank rather than anything else. Minute comes back, immediately taunted once more, does have flash available. Cleanse is going to be up in a couple of seconds. Lick Senate, but otherwise everything's going to be fine here for VSG. Bottom side of the map, KT picking up this minion wave, BDD picking up some damage here as we pan to the mid.
And I guess the best way to summate how I feel like this game is played out is, let's consider a game where smeb falls way behind and Moo and Minute fall way behind. Who is the stronger team in that scenario? smeb will always...
yeah, flash in.
No kill going to be had, but smeb will always have his ult to negate the burst damage on the pick comp from VSG. And that will always be there because it doesn't scale particularly with anything. However, VSG, if the Varus and Tom Kench are rotating second around the map and not actually the siege duo they can prove to be a not winning lane, I actually feel like VSG lose a lot. So right now, it feels like VSG are losing and KT are only gaining extras.
Well, Mighty Bear's down here for this 3v3 that could potentially come in. They don't have the information on the side of KT to predict that one, but Score is going to move towards his blue buff. See whether he gives it over to BDD or not. It's pretty nice for the energy regen, especially for that of Akali who wants to be spamming those Qs.
Are they not aware of that control word?
Yeah, I mean, it's been there for a long time.
It almost deserves a name.
Yeah.
Let's call it LCK Summer 2019.
Yeah.
Seems to still be there for KT.
Well, I mean, KT's been doing well. I kind of want to call it 2018 summer.
No. Come on. Don't bring that up today.
Okay, I won't.
It's too early still.
It might help everyone stay not excited, possibly. That's what I'm thinking. Double Cloud, speaking of not excited.
Can you get excited about not getting relegated?
I think so. I don't know.
What a hollow victory for our reigning champions until 2 days ago.
Yep. First time in history that it's happened. Immediately in the promotion tournament after being the champions. I mean, remember, oftentimes it was SKT who were the champions. Then teams like Kingzone that showed so much dominance. True Gaming, of course, being the name that they managed to get one on.
Happy that they're taking the very early introduction to the Rift Herald. KT picked up that second Cloud Drake. Some more and more gold, not going to Moon Minute. Remember that. Moon Minute are going to be delayed on their item timings. And while it's not a huge CS lead, it's still a lead for Desire and Galio and Varus and Tom Kench. Being ripped apart left, right, and center. Here's 4 members trying to dunk him.
Make that 5 as the teleports come in. Great double knock-up once again, but the Devour Flash will get Varus out of the way. The Claw comes in. There's the ultimate, and oh, Zenit had the ult on top of him as well, coming in from the Kale, but it's not quite enough. The Ignite comes down, but it is going to be a positive trade here for VSG. Oh, I take it all back. 2 for 2 here between the two teams under the turret. And the first dive was clean, the second was horrendous.
It was definitely a trade up for VSG, because look who's alone. Rearus just auto-attacking down and will get this turret over time. It was an awful turret dive, Atlas, because Zaya took the turret aggro, never ideal, but things happen. But then used her ult at the same time as Kale ult. So they actually didn't even get multiple turret shots from investing Kale's time. So Kale loses out all this farm and her turret.
Yeah, straight up disaster. Rearus is going to get all of the turret plates and has a huge lead. 1,700 gold at almost 13 minutes into the game is a bit of a disaster here for the top lane of KT. Thankfully, it is Kale.
Turret dives are trust falls, and you have the lift off and the Kale ult. So watch the turret aggro. It goes on to Zenit, you notice, on the top side over time. But he gets the Kale ult, doesn't realize it's coming, and uses the Zaya ult. So they end up taking extra turret shots, and they don't even get a 2 for 1. They get 2 for 2, which is pretty awful given the scenario.
Yeah, it's just huge here for VSG. See, the coach is pretty excited about how this one went. We'll see how they're going to be able to snowball this one. Currently, about a 1.4k gold lead. Not a huge deal. BDD does have Gunblade. Completed smeb. Very close to the Trinity Force, which has been the popular build here in Korea.
In pro play, yes, and in solo queue from the start, yes, but actually the trend has changed. I've been researching
I feel like
Kale
AP
builds.
has happened a lot more, right?
A lot of on-hit Kale has returned.
Oh, wow, okay.
With Witsend, Nashor as Rageblade kind of builds. There's been a lot less of this AD build, but in pro play, it is usually the build because the Sheen burst feels so good and it builds naturally from there. Small visual bug with the charge coming in. That's a gold
Some
charge.
confusing stuff coming in here, but there's the flash out. The Ragnarok use. Rem is going to be able to pick up the aggro. Smeb's in position, goes golden. That's the second ult. BDD helps lock down the kill for the Kale. And now Snowflower turns up. Mighty Bear gets Cataclysm. That's a great devour for a minute. Mighty Bear will be able to walk out. It is score falling down. Snowflower so close. His BDD stunned. Dives on top of Rearus now as Smeb is still there with the DPS. And Zenit will turn up. BDD flashes. Picks up one. Zenit's in there with the ultimate. Moo is going to be dead. Double kill for the Zyre. And Minute is going to follow. BDD just wanted to utilize a Kale ultimate for some reason, and KT will be able to celebrate after a one-team fight.
KT get the wipe. This could have been cleaner from both sides, but it's the promotion tournament, not the finals. So when you watch the replay, it's going to bother review neither coach will love. Mighty Bear wants the gold charge. That's why he walks up in an area where he doesn't have any vision lead. Gets the gold charge, but then of course it's going to be turned on. And VSG at this point call off the fight. They say, all right, pull back. Rem's gonna die. Rearus doesn't dive in. He doesn't have flash. He has exhaust ignite because he switched over. It could be over a 1 for 0 for a gold charge instead. Mighty Bear goes too boldly, but he could be disengaged, and this could end for VSG, and it's pretty good. Salvaging things, all things considered, but they're so greedy to dive back in again that by the time Zenit joins, there's bonus kills to be gotten. VSG could have given it up as a 0 for 1, could have taken a 1 for 1, but they thought they could get a 1 for 0, a 3 for 1, and that's where their greed is turned around by KT.
Yeah, and I think that exhaust was supposed to go on BDD as well.
Here
Nice coming in here from KT, who are trying to salvage what has been a pretty rough early game for them. VSG still with a gold lead. Rem going to be able to get out of this gank in the mid lane, but KT have decided to stop the laning phase. They're parking Snowflower and Zenit towards the mid lane, and it will be smeb just farming up against this bottom lane duo of VSG.
And VSG got so much turret gold from plates because, of course, the solo gold top side. Went to the cannon on the botched turret dive. That was what got VSG into the driver's seat of this game in many ways. It's slowed down from there. We now have almost gold parity between the two teams. And Atlas, what I want to point out is that last play where they could have abandoned the Lissandra, pulled back, got a kill, then got greedy. That feels like first game on stage nerves in the second game of the series. And that's the reality of a five-man swap. No one's feeling steady. No one's stage ready because no one's warmed up after watching game number one. They're sitting there saying, we have to win. We're 0-1 down. It's not even a best of 5, but it feels like they lost something in that particular play.
Well, smeb is ascending again very, very soon. Not sure whether he managed to get the extra skill point. And the skin confused me, so see whether it is going to be level 11 or whether he already has second level of ascendancy.
I believe he has, if the ranged auto attack there, like you know it, right? So we'll get that confirmation next time. So here now we get the full confirmation. I believe the icon changed, so regardless, moot point now. No skill points to count, but smeb is now ascended, has that permanent range advantage. And take down the Ocean Drake in just map control, not being on the Olaf side is pretty consequential. While the names have changed, the way we judge the comps haven't changed that much from game number 1 to game number 2.
And KT still have a monopoly on these Drakes. They now have a gold advantage.
Get rid of that Sync Tracer.
Yeah, the Sync Tracer's in there.
It's not updated though.
Oh no!
We need 2019 Sync Tracer.
No, we need summer Sync Tracer, man. That's what we need.
It's getting warm in Korea as well. Finally, we got our big jackets no longer being worn, Atlas.
Yep, don't need to worry about it. Don't need to worry about fitting them into the room as well, which has been a real struggle over winter.
So let's talk about the struggles here. Moo and Minute, like we mentioned, weren't played to and are now down because of their dives 20 CS. Not ideal. The item timing is actually pretty awful for Moo. He's got 3 boots and just the pickaxe. If you have Berserker Grease recurve at this point, it's fine, but kind of has the yucky parts of the Rage Blade and soon-to-be Berserker Greaves. So this Varus actually does way less than you expect. And the threat of allowing him to stay in the lane and siege is pretty minimal. Kale's already, got something, and her transformation at level 11 is another bonus. And now it is feeling like glass half empty of the Kale for Varus Tom Kench duo trade we talked about.
Well, you can see smeb having a pretty good time just punching Rurus whenever he can. Rurus deals with the minion wave very effectively, though, with that W. Lightning Surge going to be pretty helpful there as well. So, VSG, they tidy up their lanes as best they can, but this bottom lane outer should be falling very soon. Mid lane also in trouble, and that will mean that KT will be able to extend that global lead, and this may help as well. A score dives in on a Mighty Bear. You can see the rest of KT were ready to come on over. Snowflower, finger on the R button. Heroic Entrance is an option, and that will guarantee outer turret. Here for smeb.
Olaf's flash is also about 5 seconds, 6 seconds away from cooldown at the time, so was the potential trap is up now. We're seeing a pretty defensive fight here. Very risky to walk through narrow crevices as this Varus Tom Ken. Sebastian can go back to the mid lane. Akali has that scaling matchup against Lissandra where she outmatches Lissandra. In the side lane, this game goes on. Gunblade Merc Treads is the game going on. So for now, at least, Akali just piling up the CS and VSG's aggressive pieces being used defensively. Alarm bells ringing for VSG.
Yeah, and the really cool thing is that BDD decided that he could go for the Unsealed Spellbook this game as well. So you saw him start with the cleanse, now has teleport as he's entered that side lane. Mercury Treads were completed already, now has himself the Oblivion Orb just to make up for that lack of Sorcerer Shoes magic penetration. So I like the adaptation here from BDD, able to be that split pusher, but also not having that incredibly terrible time against Lissandra without the cleanse.
The flexibility of Unsealed Spellbook is also in the fact that you can park the cleanse and then win a fight with it and teleport in. That's the big thing you can do, right, when the cooldowns overlap in that way. So a lot to like about BDD's mid-game situation here. It does kind of shore up some of their rotational disadvantages that you might get just naturally from Corki versus Lissandra, or Kali versus Lissandra. So if you can go on Unsealed Spellbook against Lissandra, then Lissandra starts to lose out in multiple ways, and the validity of early round Lissandra takes a second tier move.
Well, Zenit now has the QSS completed, so he's basically got his own cleanse. He'll be able to get out With a lot of the CC that is coming in here, I feel like any sort of cleanse has extreme value against VSG's composition. Everyone, apart from Mighty Bear being able to lock you up, Minute, of course, able to eat you. As KT move themselves towards the top side, outer turret in mid is still available. Zenit is going to park himself there as smeb. He's just trying to take this one down as best he can. Q going to miss. It looks like Rem will have enough wave clear to stop that tower from falling. So, bit of a lull state, as our good friend LS would say here, at about the 20-minute mark. See whether KT are going to be the team to make the move, because once again, we feel like KT, moving into the later stages of the game, are feeling happier and happier.
It's because the pieces on VSG are best piloted aggressively. Speaking of aggression, we're going to see a turret dive soon.
Yep, smeb's going to get ulted. Does still have that Divine Judgment available. There's the Abyssal Voyage, but no Justice Punch is going to land there from Snowflower. Score goes golden, but he's surrounded by 5 members and Moo. He's going to grab that kill comfortably. Beatity with a full health bar, but doesn't find the Shuriken backflip. And that is just one easy pick there and score it overextended.
The execution was really poor from KT. Snowflower missed a taunt flash on Rem, who wasn't moving on Lissandra. Seemed half-hearted at best. I understand it's not flashing because it's Lissandra, but he flashed and missed, so that's not what you want to see. Then it's going to clean up a mid-lane turret. The point we wanted to get to is that Varus Tahm-Kench sieging, great. Varus Tahm-Kench being pushed into, not so good. Lissandra, as the game goes on, becoming predictable, not so great. Roam advantage, great. Taunt flash misses like we see. This is where KT should be putting VSG in the ground, and yet they mess up their execution, and it feels like the 9th placed LCK team rather than KT Rolster, famous Korean org.
Yeah, or the Summer Champions of 2018. Of course, we do have a new champion in SK Telecom heading towards MSI. But it was all season long that we had to talk about KT as being our champions of Korea.
Well, we kind of stopped saying.
We certainly did.
It seemed like an insult at some point. I mean, he's on the flank here, and he's pretty big, as we know.
Yep, he's going to get that Shroud down. Devour comes in, but Minute, will he be able to actually get Moo to safety? Backline, though. Slicing Maelstrom is massive, and KT's health bars are falling low. Flash out from Zenit, and he's removed from the fight by Rem. Now Snowflower has the ultimate on top of him. It's a good taunt as PDD. A lot of damage, and smeb as well. At half health, just able to get so much consistent DPS. PDD falls down, but smeb picks up the pieces, and VSG run for the hills.
KT trying to make it difficult for themselves, even with some great tools against VSG's comp, yet they still get over the line. They still keep up with the Mountain Drake. It's weird, it's wonderful, it's relegations, but KT, they stay a step ahead.
Yep, they do. It feels like they're piecemealing themselves together, team fights at the end here.
Remember, we say that KO's value is the fact that they have a diver in the Akali. The enemy has a comp that blows up one person well. KO needs to be in position to use her utility, but KO comes in from a flank. She's not cannon, so unfortunately, they lose their AD carry for free to begin this play, and yet, BD's pumped up enough. VSG is already behind in terms of items. The item lead is eventually what babies them over, but the execution, not fantastic enough to win anything.
How long was Score sitting on that dragon? It was a bit of a confusing fight there on the Jarvan's perspective, but might have missed a few things there in the replay. Moo tries to clear up this minion wave, but the lanes are getting longer and longer here for VSG as this game goes on, and you can see they've only been able to sneak a few wards past that river. You can imagine that KT now looking to focus on their Baron Vision, Double Cloud, an Ocean, and a Mountain Drake means that they'll be able to get to that Baron Pit, regen up a bit, and kill it faster.
And to once again be clear to our viewers who have not seen Korean KO before, the build path in pro play and till about the last 2 weeks in solo queue has been this build of Trinity Force, Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge. Basically, your Corki impersonation on the KO. A lot more on-hit builds. Nemesis Pentakill, of course, was an on-hit build, the hybrid build that was kind of expected for KOs around the world. Korea has been transitioning away from this build to more hybrid builds, but smeb sticking to what he knows, sticking to what they scrimmed, and the IE third on the way.
Yeah, there will be the 100% crit build as well. You build a secondary Zeal
Essence
item,
Reaver
and then Essence Reaver comes in as the final item, if he's going to follow along from what players like Noguri have popularized.
Hey, true damage AoE crits are just like magic damage
Sounds
crits in
pretty
some
good,
ways, right? So you understand the validity there.
Yep, just means that there are a lot of schools of thought when it comes to the KO. There's AP, there's crit, there's also the on-hit that you've been talking about. So smeb, he's going to go the crit route this time, and I think regardless of what you do, she does pretty good if you buy more items.
And that's why we like the trade that happened with VSG camping top, KT camping bot is. Oh, the point for now as he moves pretty far up.
Yep, Devour has to be used very early in this one. The ultimate did come out from the Varus, but got absolutely nothing done. And now BDD dives in. Shroud goes down. That's going to be the ultimate used. Divine Judgment. The flank comes in from the back as Rurus gets damaged. Onto 2 with the Slicing Maelstrom, but no one's going to die. Heroic Entrance comes forward. It does have to be a stopwatch used by REM, but he has to get devoured afterwards and isn't able to get damage in there. KT, they're softened up, and no one has fallen apart from Moo early in the fight.
Both teams being pretty respectful at the tail end of those engages means that health bars on both sides take a huge hit, but only Moo dies. So back away from that play. No one was able to capitalize on what was a huge flank coming through from Rurus. Flanks were still poking. I think Minute went too far.
Yep, the Grey Health is going to be in there. Has to activate it very early. The flash does come forward as smeb is just hitting whatever is in front of him. Very scary on the KL at this stage. 3, 2, and 7, and casually has himself a 400 gold bounty after being targeted and 0-2-0, 2 levels behind in the early game.
Watch the replay here. The flank opportunity was big, but it's after Moo walks up. Again, it's all about baiting out the Devour. The Devour's down, you assume the fight is over. And KT, see something like BDD, hard engages with the KLOs, the confidence just dive in. Rurus can't really flank anymore as a level 14 cannon, but as we notice with Moo dead, it's very difficult for there to be damage to kill enemy members. Chunk them, yes, but actually kill them, much more tricky.
Yeah, and it felt like the Heroic Entrance was going to be high value, but then, you know, the Zhonya's was there, the Ragnarok was there as well, so unfortunately not actually able to lock anyone down, and KT weren't able to continue that fight after that point.
And the fight actually also, just to finish my previous point, illustrates what KO can do. Put the ult on the Akali, she does the rest of the work. Doesn't matter if you build AP, AD, or have no items, you can always do that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, how does Varus do damage when it's not about sieging as Tom Kench and Varus? He needs to warm up his Rage Blade from behind as a squishy Varus, and then just dies. So they're not able to get value out of the duo that's behind on the side of VSG, and KO will always do something. In fact, she's going to do a lot of things. She's level 16.
Level 16 and with the Infinity Edge. When it comes to item spikes and power spikes in general, you know that I'm a massive fan. This is probably one of the biggest ones in the game that has just been completed here from smeb. Zenit almost has his IE as well as Snowflower. You can see VSG knows something up, otherwise this Galio would not be here as flag and drag gets score out of there before he can get stunned as Mighty Bear might be in trouble. BDD looking for the flank. Rurus as well, not going to be able to get there in time. Good backflip. Closes the gap there for the Akali, but loses half of his health bar. Chunks out Mighty Bear, and now KT have an opportunity to head towards this Cloud Drake for their 3rd of the game and their 5th Drake in general.
Rurus has most of the gold on VSG. Had Flash, could have come over the wall. KT smart not to try to push into this inner turret any longer. Gonna be a free Cloud Drake, but that's definitely the one you want to give up as a freebie for VSG. And if you can find a way to get one more item on cannon, and specifically level 16, start to hit and hope that this one big flank from cannon, if they catch Xayah and Kayle and find a way to burst down one of them, there's always the chance that they can actually turn around what should be a teamfight advantage for KT.
Well, Ocean Drake going to be spawning the 6th Drake of the game, and KT could have 6 heading towards the Elder Drake that will be spawning. Man, that is going to be a lot of on-hit damage if they are able to take that one down as Ram setting up, looking for Snowflower, who did go back and purchase himself a stopwatch. You can tell that KT want to fight for this Baron, and they want to fight for it soon. Control Ward goes down. They have control of the pit. Now, can they actually wield smeb in this next team fight? Will Zenit be able to free hit? Can KT tidy up this team fight play? This is what it's going to come down to.
Now, a lot of KT's fights are more forgiving. They have double IE 80 carries who can, of course, burst with their first auto compared to a Rage Blade carry who's behind. So many scenarios should be benefit KT, and yet, one Slicing Maelstrom later, maybe we're talking about VSG getting back into the series.
Yep, Mighty Bear taking
Here it is!
damage. Flashes forward. The ultimates do come out, though. smeb keeps himself alive. Zenit survives in the backline, and Rurus is going to be the first target. smeb gets rid of him after the Zhonya's 2 kills. Immediately erupt as there's no more solo lanes for VSG and KT. They tidy up the team fight from before. They get a double kill for the Kayle, and they will have the Baron.
They get double backline access, but no one dies, Atlas. They need a numbers advantage to keep fighting. hiding to allow Moo to have the space to hit. Unfortunately, Moo can't put out any damage in that fight, and KT say thank you very much. We delete Baron.
Yeah, but that was a beautiful pivot from what was the earlier disastrous dive. This time, it was Featherstorm utilized by Zenit, and smeb had his own divine judgment in order to keep himself alive through the slicing maelstrom. That could have been a huge disaster. As speaking of which, Moo is also just, oh no, Mighty Bear is here. The flash forward from BDD secures it. I was wondering, I was like, oh, no, definitely going to be able to take down that Varus. BDD in the side lane. Now with the Baron buff is terrifying.
I'm going to get the replay. Backline access, stunning two members, Kale and also the Zion. That's what we wanted. They get it, but both negating ultimates are used. And watch how Moo gets solo zoned by BDD. He's not strong enough to try to fight with his front line. They can't kill anyone, even though Zaya's out of the fight early. She's not dead. And from there, Kale says, thank you very much. Going to turn on for the kills here. VSG. See the trade they made, and unfortunately the trade seems to be suiting KT, and I think this 2-0 is imminent.
Yeah, inner turret's going to go down bottom side, but the inhibitor is already dead in that mid lane. It's KT, when it comes to killing turrets, they have so much damage, it is ridiculous. Now going to transition that siege here to the bottom side. There are 2 siege minions. And KT, it should be a matter of course when it comes to taking this one down. BDD looking for yet another flank on this Akali. Azir into the Akali, he's going through the alphabet. Things are looking good no matter which letter he's up to. Okay, there's a double taunt. Rirus does have Slash Maelstrom as BDD goes low, but Score dives into the backline. Rirus will fall. smeb grabs the first kill. The flash forward from Zenit. Oh my goodness, the engaged Xayah for the double kill, and Rem's going to follow. KT having a party under Nexus turrets, and it looks like a fun one if you're a KT roster fan. A 2-0, and only one more game in order to get them back towards the LCK for 2019 summer. A best of 5 can get them there.
While there were certainly pitfalls along the way, KT strong enough to dispatch the VSG B team. 10-man